Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In the last part, we divulged what we learned in the past to our friends. We had another meet and greet with the forum, who told us the ins and outs of their plans, and they agreed to terms. We had to help them fix their ether burner, and upon accomplishing that, we will be able to use their vessel as we seem fit, as well as getting a way to communicate with Heidelin. So, they also reached out to our friends across the world for some help, and hopefully, they will help us out. So, let's do more. Though our friends are searching for refined adamantite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet our requirements once they've arrived. In the meantime, if there are else who we might do to be of service. Ha! You've already done more than enough. You've got to say though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about elegant technology. You there, the lad with the red eyes and matching hair. You seem to know more than an average scholar. Oh, he knows a lot. Ha! Well, Master Kakol knew how right he was. Oh, and he didn't grow how to establish our rapport. Why don't we help with the preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this would mean we're going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am with that we will succeed, and we must be ready for every eventuality. This will also be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse. And if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantite. Well, ain't you a bunch of big, helpful buggers? If you mind lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. The Chilean Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. Pah! That lot need all the help they can get. And then off we go. That was weird. Lag spike came out of nowhere. Bandwidth problems. All right. When I can tell, a lot of people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scalar Monty mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting anyone's attention or in anyone's way. Let us meet by the ether once our work is done. All right. Where am I at the ether currents? Well, obviously one's tied to the main quest, so there's 3. Welcome with the art. Even though the power master Kakol's managed to squeeze out of the ether burn, it's still not enough apparently. Now I hear the final days have arrived. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. If only we begun the Exodus sooner. People are dying and there'll be no end of it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment. Believe in the plan and all will be well. Well, one could hope, right? Oh, hello. Are you one of the new helpers? You're working on the ether burner? Oh dear, I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I'd choose that over my current duties. Checking and loading samples day in, day out. It's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one will be crossed if I misplace a few legumes or what have you. The foreman's got enough of their on the play as it is, but what with deciding who gets to board the Ark and win? Lots of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master 4 and the others. Hardly get a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? You know what's going on? Probably not. And I can't blame them. Who else can I talk to around here? For no help. That's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents by myself. It's mostly lists of things we'll need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as a new home. My duty is largely concerned with the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busy after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person after having communicated with them in such limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I have not even the slightest idea what they look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants. I would prefer something small and fluffy, like that beheaded rabbit that ran by. Well, you'll be happy to know that they are rabbits. I can't jump over a hedge. Let's attune to this. Nice. Where am I going? Up, down, left, right, somewhere? Oh, here. Fancy meeting you here, Cecila. Our friends in the farm brought us here to see the teeny tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is the theater itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniaturized version of it. We were hoping the farm would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and they're still not ready. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we are planning to do until we chance upon Urianja and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us some viewpoints of interest. Wouldn't that be fun? Don't that have better things to do than play tour guide? A tour of Labyrinthos? An unexpected yet prudent suggestion. Given the similarities betwixt his artificial environment and Best Way's Burrow, it would be our best interest to have the Lopperites acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlian collaborators. I fear, however, that continual reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspectives. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture? What a marvelous idea! Might we begin with the great big what's it over yonder? Ah yes, the what's it. I shall leave this explanation to Cecil. The fuck are you talking about? What? The tree? That thing? Goodness me, to build something so large like creation magics is positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features. How am I supposed to know what the most important features are? Fucking advertisements, go away. Go away! Fucking Norton bullshit. Trying to turn off the damn image, but it's being blocked. That looks like the tree in greatest Endwalker. Hold on, that's a bit of a strange shape. It's a thin at the bottom, big and round at the top. Quite tall, but something so unbalanced too. Now it makes sense. That's where they store their water. Is that water I hear from inside that giant big tube? It must be because of those cogs and gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. That's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside too. It's a little hard to see it from here, but is that golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? And when I can see through that window and the pipe at the bottom, oh, they must be purifying water drawn up from below. Well, if I were to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumed by some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it! It's not designed brilliant in simplicity. I dare say it would only take a moment to install even the harshest of environments. For us operators, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is the utmost importance with any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that people of Aethera sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive? There are many settlements in Thanel are built near an oasis. Areas around near waterfalls are common sites for villages in Giribania. So wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it will appear that you rely on it far more than we'd anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order, but once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual. It may also be worth learning about learning more about how exactly you obtained the one in the first place. Master Alphonse spoke with the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logis Tycon Alpha, did he not? Mayhap the Lopras will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. We must journey beyond the sanctuary of the Chilean hamlet. I shall lead the way. You mean you'll have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We could not help but notice that many dangerous-looking creatures with big, nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of the settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us. Regrettably, too many hungry predator of the aforementioned big nasty teeth operates may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon the need to assist in securing passage to Logis Tycon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as an escort to Living Way, Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. Oh my god. Really? A more valiant protector than I could ever wish for. Godspeed. If that's all the same, you right not to be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way, to the water extraction, what's it? Oh my god. They don't want to get eaten by some beastie, but yet they go ahead of me. Like, what the fuck? Alright. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction once is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if it's all the same to you. Oh. If you stop running ahead of me, this won't be a problem. Damn rabbit. My friends, I bid you welcome to Lodge's Tycon Alpha. Our destination lie doth at the lift's top. Pray follow me. Alright, up we go. Marvelous, simply marvelous. This is where the magic, or science rather, takes place. The perfect environment to sustain life, artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Aetherius just so happens to provide everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way because that way they are because of the available resources, I wonder. By the way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. This is all very wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where's the food? I believe both the knowledge and consumables you seek may be found at Miral Ergonomics. As I imagine, Singway and the others intend to study every conceivable facet of this apparatus. Would that be so kind as escort visiting Culinarian? Yes, it sounds much more interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicacies the Oriental was telling me about. Even his incredibly vivid, and if a bit too verbose, description cannot be compared to sampling them myself. Not to mention the theorists will soon be no more, so I must learn all I can while there is still time. Let's brew with no further delay. God damn it. Oh, are you serious? I have to guide him through the wilderness? Oh my god. Alright. The escort stuff was nice, but this late it's getting annoying. I guess it wasn't that far, but still, this is annoying. This is the place, yes. I've heard that heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I've spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I'd dearly love to try some, but I read those who would help themselves to farmers' crops without permission are often caught and put into pies. Perhaps you could ask whoever's in charge if they would be willing to part with a few samples. My god. What a fine mess this is. Ah, it's you, the one who climbed down from the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I'm rushed off my feet preparing for the exodus. And I'm not the only one. We've all got find ways to do what we do down here, up there. First to the moon, then on whichever star the form decides it will become our new home. It's also sudden, so unreal. Don't you want to go to the moon? Well, it's better than waiting for the Foundays to claim us, but no matter how carefully it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. Even the ones we can take may not survive in the new environment. So many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you can talk about, is it? Nothing quite so dire, I assure you. We really may wish to sample a little of your produce, if I may. By all means, help yourselves. Much appreciated, my good fellow. So, where to begin? Oh my... Let's... I don't know. Take your pick. What seems more appetizing? I know what these are. The grapes, yes. Let's see if they are delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour. That tastes as much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, and yet this texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar, though far from unpleasant. Yeah, so I think let's try another. Well, that's certainly giving me the food for thought, though in a far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what is your opinion of grapes? I'd brave an erupting volcano for a choice bunch. Rancid. I'd rather eat rancid gigantitoad eyeballs. Nah. I brave an erupting volcano. Yes, they're rather Moorish, aren't they? And from what I read, they're quite versatile too. Something about people stepping on them to make intoxicating beverages, as I recall. Anyway, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next treat. We got apples. Oranges? Orange by name, orange by nature. What came first, the fruit or the color? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that's equal parts sour, sweet and sour as with grapes, yet nothing alike. I may have to consult Urianja about expanding my vocabulary. I simply cannot find the word to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is bitter. This is all very complicated, you know. So many flavors, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preferences. Now I see why you all turn your noses up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvelous though they're still in my estimation, but let no one say I said otherwise. But speaking of carrots, I have yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in the field over there. Over where? I call it texture. Are they some sort of enormous brown carrots? They're pumpkins. No, in any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Blech, it's so hard and flavorless, it may as well be chewing on a piece of wood. That about confirms it. There's nothing but misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots. Stop! Can't you see these are pumpkins? No one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother? Far from it. Cooking is a joy unto itself. And what's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. But above all else, cooking allows us to draw out the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew is what has been my favorite dishes as long as I can remember. Then perhaps even these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. Yeah, I wonder though, if there is anything more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder? What was that, lemons? What a wondrous fragrance, but with luck it'll have flavor to match. I have no idea how these are eaten, I'll just bite into it. My tongue, this is poison. That is lemons. A lemon? You mean supposed to taste like this? How could something so similar to an orange be so revolting? Maybe some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I'd best call it an end to this round of sampling. I'll say our farewells and return to the others. Finished, have you? I trust you found something you're liking. I'm rather enamored with the groups and oranges. Less so the pumpkin, though I learned the hard way there they're not to be eaten raw. Then there was the lemon, the deceiver. I feel so violated. First time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave with such a bad taste in your mouth. In more ways than one, so I'll give you this lemon muffin I baked. If this doesn't change your mind, change your opinion, nothing will. More lemon? Have I not suffered enough? Nevertheless, it'd be remiss for me to spurn this opportunity to... Bit of a sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Farewell, lemon muffin, do your worst. This is... delicious! Although I still detect a hint of lemon that complements the sweetness of the dough to create a perfect harmony. Never would have guessed this vile bitterness would be utilized so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking. See, we rarely use lemons in its natural state, but it has a starring role in all sorts of recipes. The same is true for many other ingredients. When it comes down to making the most of the resources at our disposal, and sometimes that can even be the difference between life and death. I know you won't be able to take every species with us, No doubt the forum agonized over what we're preserving, and what will be consigned to history. Hard choices, but make them we must if we're to survive. Such strength of will. And now I know what Hyland sees in your kind. Mankind, the Lomperates, we were both born in the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. They learned all there is to learn about the nature of sentient life and the fates of the stars themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements for survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly, and its downfall. For the perfection is an unattainable ideal. It is the paradox of the immaculate carrot. Yet civilizations since time immemorial deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the costs incurred in their futile quests, and ought to often become the architects of their own demise, the dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect. Be content with what we have and make most of it. When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins. Part of my Eorzean, but what in the seven hells are you on about? And who are you anyway? Cooking away at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. Once you get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds. And don't worry, there'll be room for your crops too. We'll work together to preserve as many of the theory's species as possible if you're up to the challenge. Yes, of course. I'll look forward to it. Well, this has all been highly productive. Probably. Let's go see if Ariadne and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we? Okay. So I don't have to escort you back. Lord. Lord, lordy, lord. That was the most enlightening, especially the part with the lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know any other place famed for the cuisine? The Far East has oodles of noodles. Still miss has home to the Culinarians Guild. That's probably a better answer. What did I have time to visit? The more I learn of Aetherius, the more I wish that we could spare it from the final days. On the last hot on the orders of the fleet, not to resist. If only there was some other way. We'll figure out a way. Since I trust that time at Merrill Ergonomics did bear fruit. You're funny. Our own efforts too were rewarded. We now possess an embarrassment of educational riches. No doubt our guests' relentless pursuits of knowledge could occupy them, and us, for a fortnight. The last time is of the essence. Let us return to Charlayan Homeland forthwith. I shall gladly attend to each and every Lomperet there, and should further questions within my power to answer arise. Oh, what's your deal? Okay. I'm almost level 90. This last quest will push me to level 90. Yippee for me. Sucks all the MSQ XP is gonna go to waste after this, though. Oh well, it is what it is. Good things don't last forever. What's up, Growing Way? Huh. Yes, so that was indeed me verbalizing aside to express our mental state. Do you want to know why? Because I saw the reconstructed environmental data from a theorist at Logis Tycoon Alpha, that's why. Forest so lovely and so leafy. Are all your forests like that? Black Shroud's quite leafy indeed. A place for the most tranquility. They're verdant at least. The trees at Dravania stand particularly proud. You should see the forest of the first. One was purple. Let's go to the Black Shroud. Gasp! Gasp! I say. With what starts so wonderful, it comes as no surprise that you're reluctant to leave it behind. I was a fool to think otherwise. To assume that the mill was something worth being proud of. How ridiculous we must seem to you, trying so hard yet achieving so little. Not at all. Thy works are no less worthy of their uniqueness. I thought I heard tiny voices. Banquet. What are you doing here? How did South fare? Oh, I was able to glean a fair bit of them from the researchers while helping move their cargo. Preparations have proceeded without interruption here, despite news of the coming end. We have the forum's leadership to thank for that. That doesn't mean people aren't worried, though. Quite the opposite. Though when disaster could strike at any moment, they hurry to complete their work, equally aware that a single error could be the difference between life and death. We can hardly tell them there's no cause for concern. Perhaps not. Though aided by our goodly Growing Way, we may yet find other ways to enlighten their burden. Me? Be used to people? I wanted that you would think me so capable, but I'm not sure if that I'm up to the challenge. Nevertheless, I believe in thee. If you say so, I suppose it can't hurt to try. I passed someone moping in the Western Plaza that looked to be in need of a helping paw. Perhaps you might start with him. This is a good place to come as any. Come. Why do I have to go? Christ. What's up, buddy? Oh, can I help you? It is you who will help me. Is my anxiety treated so obvious? Burden shared is a burden eased. Pray tell us thy troubles. Those little fellows do look like good listeners. I'm an engineer, you see, and what they say of the ship. It's the sum of decades of Shaw and ingenuity that's built with peerless elegant technology. It's all true, but... I know that none of that is a guarantee. Who the fuck's calling me? Where's my phone? Oh. Damn it. I dropped my other phone for a fucking spam call. I don't like spam calls. Alright. We've never before launched a starfaring vessel, let alone flown into the great expanse. All the tests we've run have been on the ground. Only operational personnel and cargo will be aboard for the first voyage, but even so, if it fails us then, what can we do? And if it doesn't, well, we can fall apart on the next flight or on the one after that. We've done everything we can to prevent that from happening, but it hardly matters. We thought that Ether Burner's design was flawless too, and look how that turned out. Now we're familiar with these most daunting technologies, and now thus dost thou hold the power to allay his fears. Oh, I'm not sure about that, but well... Maybe you could tell me if there are any aspects of the ship's design that you are especially worried about. Our ability to walk about and perform our tasks, for one. I devised the means by which to employ gravity, a spatio-temporal spell to regulate the environment, but what if it's not strong enough? What if everyone floats away and begins crashing into things as soon as we've left the star? Ah, gravitation! Haha! Maybe I can have help after all. Oh shit, I skipped that last bit of dialogue. No! I suspect both parties shall find comfort in this conversation. If yet the thing could say it could be true, still others would benefit from insights born from experience. Might have prevailed upon the Loperids to attend to them. It was an excellent idea, if I do say so myself. There is not we'd like more than to ease the hearts of the fine people of Theris, and learn more about them while we're at it. Full glad to hear it. Gather thy companions and bring them hither. Since thou hast a gift of finding souls in need of succor, pray seek thee out the distressed and the apprehensive, and inform them that help is at hand. I shall wait them here, and I might introduce each to a suitable Loperit. Oh good, I do still look forward to that. A place for every Loperit, and every Loperit in their place. God. Oh, I gotta find 8 people! Oh lord. Alright. Oh, auto run, turn off. There's 1. There's 2. Concerns? Nah, there's no point where at this stage. It'll only make the work go that much slower. Alright, well, he's fine. What about you? What am I thinking about? The medical facilities in the ship, of course. I designed them with the assistance of our sages and Shurgians, but to imagine every illness or injury that one might face in the great expanse is beyond any of us. To say nothing of the effects that living out there indefinitely might have on the body. A crew from the moon! What did I not think of that? So, capricious researcher, what about you? How the universe is not, yet the work goes no faster. Schedules are such temperamental things. Feasible one moment, utter bollocks the next. Yet I've never felt so alive. Okay. Only sleep can save her now. This one's beyond your help. Yo, yes, you idiot. Have you seen an envelope flying about? This imbecile refuses to give me the alchemic I ordered without that bloody slip of parchment. Have not. Unless your friends have a spell to make me remember where I dropped my damned envelope, I doubt there'll be more help, more hard than you. And you've wasted enough of my time already. Oh, fine. It would be unfortunate for all involved to inflict this. It would be unfortunate for all involved to inflict this man upon the Loperids. My face? What's wrong with my... Ow! Maybe perhaps I am a bit tense. I was tasked with ensuring the proper fauna, and only the proper fauna, are brought with us to the moon. However, the suitability of a few species is still under debate, and I can hardly make the decision myself when I know so little about the environment up there. How about you talking to the Loperids? Including the Loperids in our discussions is a wonderful idea. I absolutely will, thank you. Perhaps their biology itself might offer some clue as well. Well, there's 2 out of the 8. What about you? Console the collaborators. I suppose I would be more effective than sitting here brooding. I'm attempting to calculate how much cargo we can consolidate into fewer trips, should the ether burn make our original estimations unfeasible. but there are simply too many variables, and it feels as if my brow will turn inside out. But perhaps our lunar associates have more insight to how much weight constitutes too much weight for our purposes. Thank you for letting me know. Alright. What about you, guy? Is there anything bothering me? Well, I've been loading cargo for bells now, so my back feels like a void since played as a piano. My feet and knees as drums and cymbals too. It seems fine if it needed a break. I can relate. What's your problem? Just leave me in my misery. The former can appoint someone else. I apologize. I simply don't know what to do. How am I supposed to pilot the Ark if I'm already falling apart under the pressure? You know, airship pilot I might speak with. Truly? Well then, there's no time to waste. They can help me prepare for this monumental task. So he's our would-be pilot, huh? Great. I can't jump over the hedge? Really? What about you? Have you heard anything of the moon? I have no doubt that we can make it up there, but the searching for a new star part of the planet sounds awfully vague to me. I asked the forum, but they will only tell us our collaborators have everything under control. Forgive me, but I don't feel particularly safe wandering through the sea of stars on gods know what made by gods know who. Huh. Okay. That's understandable. You mean to say that I can speak to them directly? Amazing! I hope they like questions. Oh, don't they ever. Worries. No, I believe I'm fine. Thank you. I've been confining my colleagues and it's helped a lot. Can't recommend it though. Can't recommend it enough. Alright. Well, you're good. Obviously, I could have figured that out by your name. Okay, what about you? How might I help you? My, what a lovely idea, and who knows, people are becoming rather tense, so I rushed out to pluck some fresh and fragrant tea leaves. Now I need only track down 100 or so cups. Don't you worry, I can manage. I hope your plan to cheer everyone up goes well. This woman's doing better than you are. God damn. Blasted assistants, where have they gone on to in a time like this? Beg pardon, but I have not time for idle chit-chat. I need to reconfirm that ether levels are consistent throughout the vessel's machinery, and it seems I have to do this so single-handedly. I swear when I find those assistants of mine. I know a bunch of people can help. The operators are willing to help. Why didn't you say so? At least they won't moan about how they checked 24 times already and haven't slept in weeks. Lazy sods. I mean, yeah, I'd walk off too if I was under those working conditions. Like, fuck that shit. Oh, you look like definitely need. Oh god, my chest is tight. Am I dying? This is what dying feels like. I think you're a little over dramatic. Oh, dude, pardon me, I didn't see you there. There's no cause for concern, I assure you. No cause for concern. You know, we may need to depart at any moment, and if the hull I designed buckles under the strain, the entire vessel may explode and launch, claiming countless lives and dooming all mankind. But that's highly unlikely. Yes, highly unlikely. Highly. Yeah, that's definitely... Our visitors can help triple check the structural flaws, you say? Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm breathing more easily now already. Okay, I can understand him being anxious over that. That would not be a good thing. What are you? 56 bunches a week? Okay, now. Yeah, I'm not neglecting my duties, I swear. I just was in need of a little break, you see, but then I found myself unable to relax at all, so I went on a walk that I nosed these weeds in. Plus the conversation partners and oh so fuzzy. Goodness me, that does sound like a much better way to relax. God damn. Finally, tracked down 8 people. Jeez. Okay, behold, Cecila. Though through thine efforts, word hath spread throughout the labyrinthos. Verily to a far greater number than we anticipated. Living Wayne doth gather more labyrinths as we speak. I shall assign each in accordance with their skills that new bonds of friendship might be forged. Should greater matters require not thine attentions, watch over them, my prithee. Why? What am I doing? I'm playing babysitter, that's what I'm doing.
ちょっと休憩。一度にこんなに喋ったのは初めてですわ。
よ、盛況だな。月の民から助言をもらえるらしいって、早速町中で話題になってたぞ。
そういうことでしたら、こちらのスリーピングウェイと話してみるのがよろしいかと。彼は
This guy's a pilot?
ですので。
Well, let's sleep right now?
よく覚えてるもんだな。レポリットの違いを見分けるのは難しいと思うんだが。
あなた方を嘆きの海から送り出した後、私たちとウリエンジェはたくさん話をしましたから。彼はアーテリスについていろいろと教えてくれましたし、こちらの質問にもとことん付き合ってくれましたわ。おかげで私の本ももういっぱい。こうして実際に来てみるとまだ驚くことばかりですが、そもそも彼から教えられなければ地上に降りてくることもなく、月で待ち続けていたでしょう。
こんな光景、昔のウリエンジェを知る奴が見たら驚いて喜んだだろうな。ルイゾワ様やミンフィリア、パパリも、それから
いや、ここでいい相談役を紹介してもらえると聞いたんだ。私たちにも頼めるかな。
Oh,
ウィルフスンさん。
is that Moonbar's parents? Oh, that's
転移魔法の研究者として有名な夫妻だよ。ムーンブリダのご両親だ。
also be an awkward conversation.
お久しぶりです。お二人ともこちらにいらしたのですか。
ああ、しばらく前に妻ともども引き抜かれてね。しかしまさかここで君と再会することになるとは。
まったくだよ。あんたと来たらうちの子の訃報に手紙を添えてきたきり、何の連絡もよこしやしない。
Nope.
本当に心配かけて
申し訳ございません。直接ご報告に伺うべきだと分かっていながら。何よりムーンブリダのことを私は。
ルイゾワ様に置いていかれたと嘆いていた彼女にとって 君たち暁が呼んでくれたことがどれほどの喜びだったか。あの子の成したこと、全ての決断は間違いなくあの子自身のものだったと思う。どうか君も己を責めるのではなく、彼女を誇ってやってはくれないか。
私たちに起こってることがあるとすれば、それはあんたと一緒に泣けなかったことだよ。あんな震えたちの手紙だけよこして、私たちであんたの分まで泣く羽目になったじゃないか。
本当に申し訳がございません。私は語れる言葉を持たなかった。こみ上げる気持ちもよぎる思い出も一つとして正しく言葉にできなかったのです。積み上げてきた知識も読み解いてきた詩も無力でした。私はただ無力で。
バカだね。誰だってそうさ。私たちだってあの子、この悲しみを語れはしないよ。だからちゃんと分かってた。分かってたんだよ。
君たちがまだ小さかった頃、遊ぶことより学ぶことを愛した君を冷やかした子がいたね。その度にムーンブリダが飛んでいって喧嘩をした。私たちがいさめてもウリエンジェはいいやつなんだとむくれるばかりでね。
だったら相手を叩くんじゃなくて、あんたがウリエンジェと周りをつながないとって言ったら、そうかなんて腕組みしてうなってさ。それからは前よりも強引にあんたを連れ出してみたり、考えてることがわかるようにって同じ本を読もうとしたり。当時のあんたにとっちゃいい迷惑だったかもしれないけど、あの子なりにとても頑張っていたんだよ。
そして君は今こうして大勢の中にいる。それどころか絆を結ぶ手助けまでしているね。私たちはそのことがたまらなく嬉しいんだ。
ムーンブリダが信じた人は、力いっぱい押した背中はその後もちゃんと歩き続けてくれていた。うちの自慢の娘の笑顔を今日はとても近くに感じるよ。ありがとう、ウリエンジェ。
はい、私も今やっと思い出せています。あの笑顔は眩しく温かく、悲しいものではなかったことを。
ウリエンジェには大切な方がいらっしゃったのですね。
気になるか？
いいえ、私はただまだ知らないことが多いのだと思い直しただけですわ。
そうだな。生まれた時からここにいたって、知らないこと、わからないこと、足りないことだらけだ。だからこの星はまだ終わるには早すぎるんだよ。
Oh God! Got more motion out of Oriange than we've had this entire game. And it's that one little sequence. Oh shit! I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little teary-eyed there for a minute. Oh fuck! It's like that time in Garlemald when everyone settled their differences before shit hit the fan there. At least shit didn't hit the fan here this time. That ruined the moment. Alright. Now Cessa, be sure that I'm fine. I am full glad to see them too, after so long. Gladder still that I was in your company. Did it as difficult as it was to accept their kindness, it would have been far harder to have faced them alone. I am level 90! Oh good. Yeah, my level 90 spell, I gotta figure out where the fuck I'm gonna put it. Do I not have in my hotbar? Apparently I do not. Where the fuck am I gonna put this? I don't even know where I'm gonna put this! My hotbar is like totally full. Well, I'm still I can replace the ether compass, but I'm still using it. I guess I can replace it for that. Let's do it. The third G of the bell, huh? Okay, great. What do we got here? Things like a... I think it's like a totem, isn't it? Heals every few seconds or something. Probably only in battle though, I'd assume. Nice looking spell though. Alright, cool. Bell has my gratitude for letting encourage the Loperates. Not disposed to the rest of the to rest on their laurels, some of our guests have elected to accompany my countrymen to their stations. Some few may still come hither seeking counsel, so I shall remain to aid them as need be. If thou art needed elsewhere, do not let me detain thee. As a matter of fact, I was hoping you might check on Alize. Last I saw, she was struggling on to carry an enormous pile of boxes out the west gate. I don't know myself, but we both know whose help she's less like to scorn. Not to mention that, much to my misfortune, I can think of no other. I can several other things I might do. I'll be doing the way. Okay, well, whatever. I ought to be doing. Huh. Oh, I'm going that way. Where's the west? That's the where. There it is. I was gonna say, where's the west gate? It's right there. What are we doing over here? Anything over here? Oh, that's right, I moved it. Oh, the north. That's one nearby. It's right up there, actually. There it is. Can I get it from down here? Damn it! Can't. I'm trying to be sneaky. Of course, this fucking thing's in my way. Get out of my way. It's not what I wanted to do. Alright, well. You're in the beta quadrant now. Cessa, what are you doing here? Helping you out. What the hell's in the box that's making a noise? Oh, I don't mind if you help the boxes, but it's far from the most exciting of tasks. Are you sure? Well, I appreciate the assistance. We need to get these to Aporia. Time is short, of course, but they're full of organic specimens and samples, so try not to be too rough with them. Alpha should be waiting for us when we arrive. We'll see you there. Ah, great. Where am I going? Of course, I can't sprint, naturally. The frailty of life. Running around. Please, somehow I'll only have to deliver the one. I have to go back 3 more times for the other crates, so I'm not gonna be too thrilled. Oh, there, you're helping with the crates. Wonderful. You can put that there with the others. Thank God, I don't have to go out and get the rest. Yeah, my gratitude, but how'd you come to be involved in this? Ha, then I suppose I have thank you to thank as well. If you're wondering why we're tasked with bringing these boxes to Aporia to begin with, so was I. Turns out that this is a base of operations of sorts, and those with final say as to what is included in the ships and manifest can be found here. Father included, I suspect. That should be everything. You carried all that at once? Are you trying to injure yourself? Oh, hush, lighter than you look. Not everyone has your delicate arms. I suppose we should let someone know that we finished. Theopaldin is in the courtyard. We can report to him. Why don't you come along? You should get credit for your assistance at least. Considering where we are, we might even learn something interesting. Again, that is not my mount button. Alright, let's attune to this before talking to him. God, it never ends, does it? What can I do for you? We brought samples from Chilean Hamlet, Series 110. The crates are by the entrance. Thank you. I had expected one of my colleagues, but we are dreadfully short-handed. Just a moment. You're a forest children, are you not? Alphano now is at your service. You're well acquainted with father, I take it. Quite. I've been friends with your parents since our days at the Studium. I remember when you were yee-high, waddling hither and thither. Clearly, it's been quite some time since we met. It's just good to see you again, wielding your father's new list, no less. You know, our parents, when they were young, what were they like? Pray spare no detail. I should like nothing more than to regale you. Alas, I am meant to be in charge here, and reading the paperwork I want for submission. We can help with that, in exchange for the sort of stories where our parents would never willingly divulge, of course. Very well then. There happen to be 3 sets of documents in need of delivery, so how about you each take one? Wait right there. You will find our former representative waiting to collect these near the southernmost structure. I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. Never mind Alpha and Alize, I'm certain they'll be back soon enough. Alright. Okay. Let's get up here. Oh, she's down there. There you are. Are you not one of the Scions of the Sam Dawn? I thought you were meant to be working on the ether burner. Tia Pollen's paperwork. I was beginning worried he had misplaced his quill. I appreciate your help in seeing these documents in my hand at last. As for your other task, pray keep this between us, but I sincerely hope you Scions succeed. The Exodus is without a doubt the most monumental undertaking in the history of the Forum, and so we must be circumspect in our respects. Risk is a privilege we cannot afford ourselves. At its heart, however, Charlene has never been a nation of the curious. It would be a tragedy indeed if we were the ones to stymie your pursuit of truth. Were we at time? I feel like I've accomplished nothing this part. Quick and efficient, I dare say. You have a talent for this work. Twin's papers only needed to be delivered to elsewhere in the facility, so they should be returning any moment. We return, not not a scrap of paper remaining on our persons, you will note. You have both my thanks. My apologies for sending you on an errand far more below your ambitions. Why, even as a babe, you struggled out of your swaddling clothes and... This is quite enough of that, thank you. It has compromising stories of our parents that we asked to hear. To reiterate. Of course. I've known your father for so long. I must have something. Well, as you know, part of the why the Lavalier name garners such respect into this Charlene is your family's sordid history. You two can trace your ancestry back directly to those who came aboard Nyun's Hope, a lineage few can claim. I've never thought much of it myself. It's not as though our forebears founded our nation. They were simply there when it happened. Nevertheless, it has traditionally been a point of pride. It's why Nyun's pronouncement, renown the ways of war and pursue the enlightenment through knowledge and reason, has ever been our family's creed. Until your grandfather's time, Archon Louisois looked not to Nyun's words, but his deeds. He asserted it in defiance of his peers that choosing to save the great and the small from the rising tides was the true mark of our founder's virtue. Perhaps it was his expertise, his knowledge of ancient prophecy and the fall of civilizations that led him to conclude that to eschew conflict at every turn was to consign mankind to his doom. There will ever be conflict and calamity will follow. Thus, to ignore the plight of those who one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it's indolence. You remember his words well, indeed. Indeed, Archon Louisois lived by that personal creed and used every means at his disposal to bring succor to those in need, Charlene or no. No one loved and admired your grandfather more than his son. Yet Four could not reconcile Louisois' deeds with the philosophy of their forebears and his peers, a philosophy in which he believed so fervently, yet made a pariah of his father. Four agonized over this contradiction for much of his life. God's father. Some may carry his father's blood, but his choices are his own to bear. Is it not always thus? Gods know Four is cranky old goat, so I'm sure you butt heads often enough. Yet even so, you must know that they are constantly in his thoughts, every moment of every day, and that is not an exaggeration in the slightest. You should have seen him when you were born. Barely recognizable he was, with a kind of dumbfounded grin I had not seen on him since he took a fancy to your mother. He was practically skipping when he told me the news. Take my word for it, he loves you to an embarrassing degree. But he's also frustratingly single-minded. Once he's decided that a given action is for the best, he will stay the course no matter who or what opposes him. A profoundly annoying habit when you're on the other side of it, as I'm sure you'll agree. Huh. I'll say, thank you for your insight. When next we meet our parents, I shall mention that we spoke. Try not to get me too much into too much trouble now. I need the form on my side. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back to work. I have to make sure these little specimens you brought back to make it to their proper places, so the cranky old goat will have my hide. We can speak again later. Good. All that waste XP! Hail, you three! Graha, surely Coco hasn't driven you out of the forge already. For better or worse, no. However, he has set me a task that requires more than my single pair of hands. And here you are. I could use at least one of you, but I won't reject it more. Unfortunately, Alexander had prior commitments, and we've delayed too long as it is. What about you, Cecil? Can you spare the time? Why not? I have nothing better to do. Perfect, this shouldn't take too long. Alright, well this is a good place to stop with this part. I feel like I accomplished nothing. When we come back, we will help out Graha with whatever he needs help with, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next part. Later.